Auburn has fired head coach Hugh Freeze after a 4-5 start on the year and a loss to Kentucky. But I'm going to be honest, I think Auburn may have just set themselves back 4 or 5 years. Now, before you come after me, hear me out. I'm not saying Hugh Freeze is the right guy for the job. In fact, we know he is not. But this is a really, really crowded coaching carousel with a lot of really, really good jobs. And timing in college football when it comes to hiring a head coach is everything. Now, before I talk about why this might have been a bad move, let's talk about why this was a really good move for Auburn. Hugh Freeze has really never had a lot of success wherever he's been at. He has a 10-3 season at Arkansas State, and then a lot of okay years at Ole Miss, and then their best season in 2015 when they go 10-3 and win the Sugar Bowl. But the very next year they go 5-7, and Hugh Freeze leaves Ole Miss, gets fired from Ole Miss because of some recruiting violations. And when we say recruiting violations, we really mean Laramie Tunsil. That whole thing happened under Hugh Freeze, so kind of a lack of institutional control there, to quote the NCAA. Then he took a few years off, and in 2019 he becomes the head coach for the Liberty Flames, where he goes 8-5. Then puts together a good 10-1 season, then 8-5 and 8-4, and somehow Auburn decided that was good enough to hire him. And then we have his 2.5 seasons at Auburn. He goes 6-7 in 2023 in his first year, 5-7 in 2024 in his second year, and so far in 2025, he was 4-5. And while some of those losses could be forgiven, this most recent loss against Kentucky could not. Auburn has lost to Oklahoma 24-17, Texas A&M 16-10, Georgia 22-10, Mizzou 23-17, all close games against ranked opponents. But then they lose to Kentucky 10-3. And not scoring a touchdown against Kentucky will absolutely get you fired. So Hugh Freeze was not the guy to lead Auburn to an SEC title or even a college football playoff berth. Auburn absolutely gets it right. They need to get rid of him. But like I said, timing in a college football head coaching hire is everything. And there are a lot of really, really good jobs open this year. And 3 or 4 that I think you could argue, if not outright say, are better than this Auburn job. And 3 of those being Florida, LSU, and Penn State. All teams that are in much better position to contend for a conference title, a college football playoff berth, and even a national title a lot sooner than Auburn is. Now, I have a whole video on the pros and cons of Penn State, Florida, and Oklahoma State. When I made that video, LSU had not fired Brian Kelly. And if you haven't watched that, go ahead and click this button right here. It's a good video. It's a lot of the pros and cons. But to keep it short, both Penn State and Florida, they both have historic traditional programs. They both have success in the past. They've both somewhat competed in recent years, with Florida winning a national championship back in 2008, and Penn State at least somewhat competing for a Big Ten title every single year. And then you add LSU onto that list, also a historic and traditional program who has a national championship just 6 years ago in 2019, and what was possibly the best college football team of all time. Definitely a top 3 team. And both of those schools have a lot of NIL and booster support. And in the current era of college football, NIL support is going to be the most important thing to building a roster. LSU, Penn State, and Florida alumni, fans, and boosters all really want to see those teams compete for their conference championship game and compete for a national championship. But Auburn is kind of the opposite. They don't have as much history and tradition as those 3 programs do. The last time they played for a national championship was in 2017, but Auburn's last SEC championship was in 2013 when they lost in the national championship game, and their last national championship was in 2010, and both of those were one-off really good seasons for the Tigers, but those sort of seasons aren't the norm in Auburn. As far as national championships go, Auburn really only has 2, with one in 2010 and one in 1957. We all saw that they now are claiming 9 that they announced in the offseason, claiming a whole bunch of national championships they weren't before. But if we're talking real national championships, they have 2. And even UCLA and Oklahoma State are almost more enticing, or just as enticing, with really good benefits compared to this Auburn job. I mean, UCLA, as much as I dislike them, they're in LA, and LA is a better place to live than Auburn. If you ask 9 out of 10 people, they're going to agree with that. And Oklahoma State is in a very easy conference. They're not in a top 2 conference like the Big Ten or the SEC, and Oklahoma State should realistically be running through the Big 12 every single year. At least that was my first thought when Texas and Oklahoma left for the SEC. Now we've seen teams like BYU and Texas Tech that look to be those top dogs, but Oklahoma State should definitely be in that fight for that top dog spot. So I don't think it's crazy at all to say that Auburn is the 4th best opening right now, and that could change as the season goes on, with 2 teams that could definitely steal a top coach away from them, or 2 programs that could definitely steal a head coach away from them. And why does that matter? Well, because you don't see a ton of turnover in college football head coaches. Almost every head coach now is given 3 or 4 years, because Your first 2 or 3 years, you're getting your roster, you're building your roster, you're implementing your system. And then that year 4 is where you really want to see improvement. And if your program is as down as Auburn is, you're going to give that coach 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, we all saw how long Penn State gave James Franklin, even though a lot of people were calling for him to be fired 4 or 5 years ago. So if you're Auburn, you're looking to hire the 4th best available head coach at best. And if that is not the guy, you're wasting 3, 4, 5 years that you could have been getting better. So Auburn was definitely in a tough spot. I mean, you can't really keep Hugh Freeze because he's just running the program more and more into the ground. But at the same time, you're probably not going to get one of the top 3 head coach candidates. I do want to thank you guys for watching this far into the video. All of the support that you guys have given has meant a lot to me. The views that we are getting is more than I thought I would have been getting just a few weeks ago. And while it's not a whole lot yet, we are in the building process of this channel. And we are wanting to expand this channel to give you guys more content and give you guys as much content as possible. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and this is where we're starting. So please make sure to like this video and make sure to subscribe. Make sure to watch, share, do anything to get this channel bigger and get in early. Get in on the ground floor. It's never bad to be an early fan. And when something blows up, you can say that you were there first. So what should Auburn have done? Well, they had 2 options, and they kind of split the difference on these. Option 1 would have been to fire Hugh Freeze earlier in the season. I think it was pretty clear this team wasn't going to win an SEC championship. Even though they were competing against good teams, they weren't quite at that point and weren't winning those games. I mean, a good time for them would have been after that A&M loss. They'd already lost to Oklahoma by 7, and they lost to A&M by 6. I think parting ways with Hugh Freeze there and saying, hey, we're almost there, but we're not quite there under you, doesn't raise a ton of questions. And then it gives them a whole lot longer to get some of those head coaching conversations underway, get some of those secret backdoor negotiations underway, and really get a good shot at one of the top candidates to lock them up before these other bigger, better coaching jobs became available. And option 2 would have been to give Hugh Freeze another year. And what I mean by that is give him until the first 2 or 3 games in the season, let him go next year, throw next season away, and then get that head coach early on in the season. But instead, they wasted a lot of time under Hugh Freeze this season. The season still is not going to mean anything. It's going to mean the exact same thing that it meant if they would have fired him early on in the season. But they didn't get that extra time to find a head coach and to start that negotiation process, to start those conversations and put fillers out. This head coaching carousel is shaping up to be a really, really interesting head coach carousel that we will see play out into the offseason. I mean, there are a lot of really good jobs and then a lot of good, not great jobs available. And I think a big question mark for Auburn is whether they can get that 4th best head coach. And if that 4th best head coach is better than Hugh Freeze, I'm not convinced that the 4th best head coach available is going to be the guy to lead this Auburn team forward. So don't be surprised if we see Auburn in the same exact predicament 3 to 4 years down the line where they're firing the guy they just brought in and trying to find a replacement. If you like college football, make sure to like and hit the subscribe button. It will tell the algorithm to push more college football content onto your feed, and it also allows me to grow my channel where I can talk about college football more. I can give you guys more content, and ultimately that is what I want to do. I want to be able to give you guys as much content as you guys are asking for. So make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm push these videos out more. And if you haven't listened to it and you're looking for a good college football podcast, I do have that. It is in the playlist. It is Saturday Hash Marks. It is also available on all major podcasting platforms. Make sure to check that out. Just one listen, just give it a shot. It will really mean a ton to get that podcast growing. It is a project that me and my friend Nick have been working on, and we are loving every second of doing that, from the prep work to the research, all of it we are loving, and we want to give you guys more content. The bigger we get it, the more content we can push to you guys. So make sure to give that a listen. Available on YouTube in the playlist called Saturday Hash Marks, or on all major platforms, all major podcast platforms like Apple Music and Spotify.